Hustle is when you're working hard for something that you don't love. If you're working hard on something that you love, it's you just being passionate. When you're building a new skill or a new capability, you have to work really hard to build that skill and capability. It's just default. It's like whenever you want to learn something new, look at the amount of time you have to put to learn something new. Let's say you've never worked a camera. If I gave you a camera, you'll need a lot of time to actually learn how to use a camera, right? What's the setting? What's the, what the frame rate that you want to shoot? What's the lighting? All of that stuff. It takes a lot of time. At that time, you may look like you're hustling because you're learning a new skill. But the moment you learn the skill, it's almost autopilot and you don't have to hustle anymore. The challenge is what happens with entrepreneurs is they think the way they started the business is how they grow their business. The way they started their journey is the way they will keep going on in their journey. And that's just not how skill or business is developed. When you're building a new skill, when you're building a new business, you have to work hard. And mostly because you don't have affordability to hire people unless you're very well funded, but that's a different thing, right? So you have to do the thing because there's nobody you can hire, right? Secondly, you're most likely doing something where you know one element of that thing really well and the rest has to be built, right? If you're a coach, for example, you may know how to coach really well, but you may not know how to create reels on Instagram, or you may not know how to prospect a client. You may not know how to do a sales conversation. You may not know how to promote your book or whatever that thing is, but there's something that you need to learn. So the thing that you're really good at, you don't need to put a lot of hustle into it because you're already good at it. But things that you don't know how to do, you probably have to put a lot of hustle into it. And you by hustle, I simply mean you have to work hard for it because you're building a skill. So you need to understand the distinction of I'm building a skill versus I am utilizing a skill or I already have the skill. So yes, there is a season in your life if you're building something new you've never done before. And that's why it's very important you choose something that you love, right? Because if you don't choose what you love, then you're going to be not wanting to do the work. You would be like, oh, I don't want to do the hustle. I'm getting burnt out. You're not getting burnt out. Most of the time, you are getting defeated.
I'm so happy
you're
that
getting
you said
defeated
that.
because it's not working. Or you're doing things that you don't like doing. And so you're like, yeah, I need to learn this camera thing, but I don't really like doing the camera thing. Then don't do the camera thing, right? Don't hustle for something. Don't hustle for somebody else's idea. Hustle for your idea, and you'll find it doesn't feel like hustle at all. So if, let's say, for example, if somebody, like I do this with my coaching students who are businesses and coaching all the time, or even entrepreneurs generally. It's like, for example, if there's a trend. If somebody says, oh, you got to build reels, let's say, for example, right? Right now, it's all about Instagram reels and TikToks and YouTube shorts and all of that. But let's say you don't like doing video. That's not your charm. Don't do it just because somebody else is telling you to do it. Do podcast. Write a book. They're equally good. Nobody says there's only one way of building a business. Anybody that says that has never built a real business. They've built a tactic and that worked for them. Good for them. But a real business has everything and anything that can work for it. And that's why it's a business, right? Because you could plug in any strategy and it'll work. This is the product that works, not the marketing can be anything, right? So the thing that we need to understand is it's not hustle. Hustle is when you're working hard for something that you don't love. If you're working hard on something that you love, it's you just being passionate.
Yes.
Right? So reframe that. Don't call it hustle, call it passion. And yes, that will look like working hard or doing things for a long period of time, but you're passionate about it. Anything that you're passionate about, you will do for a long time, even if I told you to stop.
And it doesn't feel like work. You're actually enjoying it. Like this is work, but we're enjoying it right now, right? So it's not really considered hustling. I wonder how many people have gotten sucked into this like, oh, anti-hustle movement, and they're not actually really focusing on the thing that they love. And they're just like, well, I just don't want to hustle. And it's like, well, there's nothing, like, once again, the reframe, there's nothing wrong with hustling if you're hustling towards something that you truly enjoy.
Yeah.
So
and it becomes anti-hustle. The movement anti-hustle comes from a place where somebody did something that they didn't enjoy, got burnt out because Gary Vee said hustle. And they went, I don't want to hustle on Gary Vee style. Well, because you're not Gary Vee, do your thing. But they didn't. They followed somebody else's direction, got totally burnt out, quit their business or did something crazy to kind of go, I hate this thing. And now they're like, oh, I'm anti-hustle. You're not anti-hustle. You would do the same thing if you loved doing it. You will keep wanting to do it. You wouldn't want to stop. You will find every opportunity to do something that you love because that's what is loving something, right? Loving something is loving that thing, that person, that behavior, that that business, whatever it is, so much that you lose track of time.
Yes.
So it does look from the outside like hard work, but inside it looks like, wow, this is just pure joy. I love doing this.
Yes.
Right? So I don't think there is anybody that is doing things that they love, hate the word hustle per
Right.
se. They may hate the idea of hustle because they don't think what they're doing is hustle anyways. They think I'm just being passionate about my work,
Yeah.
right? And I love doing what I do. Why should I box it into something that has a negative connotation?
Yeah.
And because hustle has a negative connotation, just generally as a word, it has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Hustling is like on the streets, from what I understand. Like that's what a hustle
Yes.
really is. Hustle
Yes.
is hustle people into doing something that they
Yeah.
don't want to do. No, that's not what we are trying to say. What we're trying to say is do things that you're passionate about, and you will find over time you get really good at it. So doing something that took 6 hours before will take you an hour or 30 minutes.
Right.
So yes, you're not working as hard, but that's because now you're competent in that. So of course it doesn't take that long.
I love this reframe of hustle. We need to bring the hustle back. I don't know when hustle became such a negative thing. It became such a negative thing.
Well, I also started saying hustle as a negative thing because hustle really is, and what people were referencing to hustle was things which they were like, oh, I have to do this for my
Yeah.
business. I was like, no, you don't have to do anything for your business. You choose to do things for your business. You choose to do things for your life. And if you're not choosing, then yes, you're hustling. And then yes, it sucks.
Yeah. I'm bringing back the hustle. Are you bringing back the hustle?
Yeah, we can bring back the hustle.